And hey, do us a favor. Spread the word.
To FM 105.7 and AM 1340, WKGN Knoxville and W289CU Knoxville, Fanrun Radio.
The breaking news, the only story, the breaking news, and the only story. And we got to respond to it, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Tony Basilio, welcoming you to another edition. Here we are. We're live with you in the Raymere studio. That's my phone ringing. All hell's breaking loose in here. I've invited Marcos Garza on the air to respond to the news that a judge in Knoxville has granted Joey Aguilar's side a temporary restraining order against the NCAA. The NCAA, they are and always will be the Washington Generals in a court of law. And the new thing that these athletes have figured out is, why in the world would I fool around? Joey was involved and he was entangled and a part of the Pavia case. And a couple days ago, he got off the Pavia case. And he got new representation. And they went right into a Knoxville court. And as we said yesterday on the air, which, is well played, because that's what you do now. He got himself a TRO. Now, what a TRO means, and I want Marcos to explain this to us, and he's supposed to be joining us, but I'm sure something just came up because that's the life he leads, and he doesn't say no to people, so he just, he's flying around. But he's supposed to be calling us at any moment here, so we'll wait on him. But the judge ruled today, and I quote, "Plaintiff has demonstrated a substantial likelihood of success on the merits of his claim that the NCAA's, quote, JUCO rule, in quotations, violated the Tennessee Trade Practices Act." And so that's a roundabout way of saying this guy is going to appear in my court on Friday, and I think he's going to win. I think he's going to win. That's a way of saying. Now I got to ask Marcos, doesn't guarantee he's going to win? What is the likelihood that he's going to win now? That's kind of what we wonder at times like this, and then you think about it and you go, okay, well, you sort of play the tape forward, and then if he does win, what are the ramifications? What does it mean? Because then all of a sudden, you're in a spot where it becomes kind of interesting. Because now you're like, oh, so all of a sudden we kind of sort of have a plan here at quarterback. It's very, very, very interesting. Essentially, what this means is that by the looks of it, looks like there's I asked Adam Sparks yesterday, what are the chances? Since it's Kentucky week and hoops were going back up there, I asked him, what are the chances? He said, they're better than 50-50. He's going to win the case. what a crazy world we live in. Here they were chasing Sam Levitt around. And now they're going to arrive back at this. And, the question, and then the other question becomes, what happens with George McIntyre? And how's that going to work? And, what's he going to do? How's he going to feel? Now we're going to have 3 seasons. We're going to have 3 seasons in college football. Which, hey, I mean, you don't have any rules. And the courts, as I've said on here, the courts are the ones governing your game now. So you don't have rules. The courts are the one governing your game. And we all sit here and watch this in real time and try to make sense of it. And as Adam said, when you get into sport, you don't get into sport to dissect the law. It's kind of like not my jam. I mean, I could sit there and, talk about last night's game semi-intelligently, or this season and how it's going, or a myriad of things. The different windows the NCAA has now, several of which make no sense when it comes to football. But this thing here, now you think about this for a second. Within the last 3 weeks, Tennessee's been fooling around with Sam Levitt, who Lane Kiffin comes in on a tarmac and takes from you. You feel like you got a decent shot at him. You have him here for like a day and a half, whatever it was. And then, so you put yourself in the mind of McIntyre or Faison, Brandon, and they're thinking to themselves, hey, man, one of us is going to be a starting quarterback next year. And now all of a sudden, no, that's not the case. But this probably, I mean, if you stop and think about it, is this going to be the only school this is going to happen at? See, I think you're going to have another season. I think the other season's going to be, and I don't know if it happens here. I don't think it will, but what happens if one of those guys says, hey, you know what? That's kind of not what I signed up for. And by the way, I'm out of here. I'm going to go get in the portal. Oh, it's closed. Well, who says it's closed? See, I think that's going to happen in the spring anyway. I've been telling you that the whole time. I think somebody out there is going to say, hey, this isn't when I signed. Either you have a new coaching staff you play for and you don't like the guy, or because that's what we're in now. This is pickup football, pickup basketball. Charles Bediako's back at Alabama. There's a guy who's played in some NBA games who wants to come back now and play college football. And so I'm sitting here. I'm sitting here kind of going, all right, what's the deal? Call him, would you? I'm sitting here just kind of going, trying to make sense of all this, like we all are. And so it's all interesting. Sean Sinclair, Brian Hartman, y'all's thoughts on this? This thing is interesting.
Yeah, Tony. I mean, today I was going to say happy signing day. For the longest time, this was our Christmas, and I didn't even realize it was signing day till it was just posted that we picked up a former Memphis commit who signed today, a running back, and I thought, well, that's right, I guess. But now today is Happy TRO Day. Tony, as I was getting ready for your show, I don't know that I have an opinion on anything because everything's been thrown. The rug's been pulled out from me.
Yep.
I don't know what to. I have very mixed thoughts about everything. I don't. On the surface, I don't like guys being able to go to college for 8 years. I don't know. Is junior college not college anymore, or was it college? You used to go to junior college because you weren't developed or you didn't have the grades. Now that whole thing's expunged, I guess, on an athletic record. I'm not trying to rip anybody. Now you got Joey Aguilar. So I started thinking about that. Okay. And I started looking back, and aside from his propensity for turnovers, he had a very comparable year to Thorsby and Levitt. So if he gets his TRO, okay, we're thinking, man, that's good for us. But what makes me think that tomorrow he just goes, okay, I got this now. I want to renegotiate. If Levitt was $6 million, I'm $6 million. And then if we say, well, I don't think that's the case, then can he just go can he portal now?
Can he create his own portal? Yeah. It's such
I don't know what to think, because
it's such a good point.
The guy's a nice player, but respectfully, it's the 10 at 2, 2 at 10.
Let's, without further ado, bring Marcos Garza in, who is let's see, under that category, he would be Marcos, you're my 10 at 2, babe. The great Marcos Garza of my Garza law firm. Hey, Marcos, can you walk us into the world of a TRO? And it's being reported that because this kid now and his counsel will appear before a judge on Friday. But when you get a TRO a few days before that, and it's public like this, as I welcome you in, what does that connote to you, Marcos?
Tony, I think it's, obviously Chancellor Haggerty is a really smart judge, but to me, I would see him ruling the same way on Friday. Actually, I want to see him ruling on Friday. We'll see. It could go either way. My best guess would be he would take it under advisement. He certainly wants to consider, the arguments of both sides. And if he wants to solidify that temporary injunction, he's going to want to write a well-reasoned opinion that addresses, the NCAA's arguments and either puts them to bed or maybe he's convinced otherwise. But if I had to guess, and it's only a guess, I would imagine it's the fact that he issued the temporary restraining order makes it more likely that he's going to issue the permanent injunction. And, it can go either way, but that'd be my guess.
So the layman listening, the thought, and this is just me, right? I'm just going to ask you this. So if he's going to rule that way Friday, what's the point behind a temporary restraining order on a Wednesday, like a 48-hour period? What's the point behind that?
I think it's what's before the court. I mean, judges don't decide what order things get filed and how they get filed. They just decide on whatever's in front of them. So in this case, the temporary restraining order is in his face, and he probably had time on Friday. So I don't know if there's a little bit of, and again, I don't want to assume or suggest something's going on that's not, or make the wrong assumptions, but I wonder if either the judge or Mars decided, gosh, if I can get this set quickly, it gives me more time or a better opportunity to get the permanent injunction. If this thing is set out 2 weeks, full 2 weeks, it gives the NCAA more time to brief it, more time to respond to it. Maybe other decisions come down in the market right now that could influence this decision one way or the other. Let's try to push this thing through as fast as we can. And then Chancellor Haggerty is a real fair guy. He knows how to call balls and strikes, so I don't think he's going to do anything. I think he's intellectually honest, so I don't think he's going to do anything that isn't compliant with the law. On the other hand, I wonder, I believe he's a Tennessee alum, if I'm not mistaken, and so I wonder if he wants to rule on this thing sooner rather than later.
Well, and that's the new thing now. The new way that everyone's doing this is they're going before local judges and they're playing home games. And Marcos, you told us this when the case with the NCAA was being heard before the circuit court. I'll never forget this. This was during this seems like years ago, and it wasn't that long ago. It was 24 months ago. But when the case of Nico and the NCAA snooping around on him and what you did and didn't do, as Marcos Garza joins us, you said, hey, these judges have to live in these communities. You said Tennessee's going to win that ruling. These people ultimately, you said you never know when you're going to court a law for anything. That's one thing you've taught us down through the years on here. But you also said they have to live in these communities, though. That's the other side of this. Is that why we're seeing what we're seeing now in cross college football or college sports now, Bediako went to a judge down in Tuscaloosa and said, "Hey, grant us a stay here so we can come in and play at mid-season." Is that why we're seeing what we're seeing here, Marcos?
I think partly, Tony, and again, let me stress too, and there are judges out there that I don't find credible, right? But
okay.
I do think so judges are human beings, right? If it's a close call or it's a 50-50 call or it's right on the fence, we have to imagine that a judge is a human being, and if they like Tennessee or live in this community, isn't the tie going to go to the runner when it's a tie? That being said, just knowing Chancellor Haggerty and how brilliant that guy is, he is intellectually honest in a way that if the law is against him, he's going to go, it's against him, and he's going to call balls, and he's going to call strikes, whether he personally might like it or not. At least that's my assessment of him, just watching him operate. Extremely bright person. Not that I'm the guy who ought to be measuring intelligence around here, but that's what I think of him. Now, what I would say, the other thing about it is this statute, the Tennessee, oh shoot, I'm in my car right now, Tony, on the way to Greenville, but the Tennessee, you probably have it right there, but
I had
Tennessee,
it, yeah. I'm choking.
Yeah, it's not Tennessee. I keep wanting to say Tennessee Practices Act. That's not it. It's the Tennessee.
But we cited it a second
Act,
ago.
maybe.
Yeah. That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. Yes.
Yeah. So Tennessee Free Trade Act. It is that language as amended in July 1st of last year. That came out about 2 weeks before the Zakai Ziegler hearing in federal court, and we threw I won't get into too many details, but it's public record, this part. We threw that in the brief at the last minute because that just come out right before that hearing. And that is an extremely wide open amendment. I believe that happened July 1st of last year. And so Mars is smart by, rather than dealing with a federal court who, they're there for life, they've got a lot more moving parts, there's a lot more decisions for them to comb through. There really aren't any decisions or very few decisions analyzing the newest version of the Tennessee Trade Practices Act. Again, forgive me if I'm misnaming it, and so those changes, because it's such a new law, there's not a law interpreting it, so it's kind of brand new. And then it is so wide open, Tony. I wish I wasn't driving right now. I'd read some of it to you. It really more or less says, gosh, if you are a student, you cannot be hindered in any shape, form, fashion, any way that you can think of by any agency, organization, entity, you name it, which obviously they're kind of describing the NCAA and others, but primarily the NCAA is what I think of the way it's written. And so it's so wide open. It is such a strong argument to argue under this statute that in my opinion, a judge almost has to grant the permanent injunction. We'll see if I'm proven wrong. I've been wrong a lot.
And this was written, Marcos, this was written recently? Is that because here is the exact wording from the judge. Plaintiff has demonstrated a substantial likelihood of success on the merits of his claim that the NCAA's JUCO rule violated the Tennessee Trade Practices Act. Marcos, the Tennessee Trade Practices Act, you're telling me that's a new piece of legislation?
Yes. Well, the Tennessee Trade Practices Act existed for years, maybe even decades before last year. However, it was amended, and you can probably double check me very easily. I believe July 1st of 2025, I want to say. It's been within the last year. So that law changed, and that change in the law included really strong language. It doesn't mention the NCAA by name, but it very clearly describes an entity like the NCAA and says the NCAA can't do anything to interfere with a young athlete's right to engage in trade or in competition under NIL deals and otherwise. So it isn't I guess it's an old law, but is newly modified, and that new modification really makes it wide open. And so Chancellor Haggerty's right when he says, or I think he's right when he says, they've demonstrated a substantial likelihood that they're going to win, because that statute would be really hard to lose under if you're just arguing state law. And now, if you get in the federal Sherman Antitrust Act and you're in federal court, there's so much law, and it's so much more well-developed, and there's so many arguments going either way. It's kind of a game of whack-a-mole. But in state court, this new modification of the statute, I don't see how. I'm interested to see what the argument is by Tyler Askew over at the NCAA, who's a really smart lawyer, so I know he'll come up with something. But I'm sure they'll have something to say about it, and we'll see what that is.
So to put this in words, just so I can kind of digest it for the rest of the show and speak semi-cogently on it, as Marcos Garza joins us, your Garza law firm, absolutely next level, as you can hear, and Marcos is a wonderful guy, does so much for our community, and rest in peace the great Mike Carver, who we're going to celebrate on Saturday.
Oh, God.
I mean, the whole thing just rips my heart out. But here's the thing. Basically, we had a law that was on the books for years and years and years. They amended it, maybe, who knows, with this in mind, and now it's created a wide landing strip to get the plane on the ground. Maybe a year ago, this wide of a landing strip and this smooth a terrain to get the plane out of the sky didn't exist. But you're saying now that this does exist. Okay, so Friday, when they rule in his favor, Marcos, is he free to move about the cabin, or does the NCAA then appeal to a higher court? How does that work, Marcos?
So he will, and if I had to guess, Tony, I would think Haggerty would take it under advisement. He could decide on Friday. I could also see him waiting a week or two, or some certain amount of time to make his ruling. After that, the NCAA would have 30 days, I believe, to appeal to the Court of Appeals, which would probably go to the Eastern District Court of Appeals in Tennessee. And once you get an appeals court, and again, the listener might appreciate this, they call appeals court loser's court. Now, that doesn't mean you always lose, but appeals court is one of these things that the wheels of justice move very slowly. It could take anywhere from a few months to a year or longer for the NCAA to get this heard in the Court of Appeals and ruled on. And so, is he free to move about the cabin? Yes. Is it possible the NCAA decides to appeal? Yes. And while that appeal is pending, my interpretation of the law, and I think most everyone else would say, yeah, of course he can practice. Of course he can play. He can really, as you say, free to move about the cabin. I love that. And so is there a possibility, though, this gets appealed, slated for brief, then set for hearing, and then you have a hearing before the end of next season? It's possible. And is it possible, I guess, we could be in a scenario where Joey plays 3 games and the Court of Appeals rules on this mid-season and says, he can't play anymore. Judge Haggerty got this wrong. That's possible. I just think it is somewhat unlikely.
Because
my guess, it's only a guess, is that the wheels of justice would move slowly enough that when Tennessee's playing for the national championship in January of 2027, that this probably isn't ruled on by then.
Yeah, so here's the deal. From a Tennessee fan perspective, because that's really the question, Marcos. It's like, okay, so let's say Friday the case is heard, and then we have to wait a couple weeks. Okay, whatever. And then they come back. You're telling me that, when you get this when you get to TRO, it's a great sign that you're getting ready to ultimately win the case. This is the judge saying to the NCAA, you better come with something really strong the next time you're in front of me, or you in big trouble. You're down 28-0 right now. You better come with something. That's the first takeaway. You help me out here when I'm wrong. The second thing is, once this judge does rule on this after the TRO, then at that point, Joey Aguilar can go back, resume his. I'm sure he might be doing team stuff now. Who knows? But then he can start the spring practice, get with his guys, do his thing, and with the expectation that I will be there in the fall, because generally his side of this thing too, Marcos, can slow it down, right? Like everybody, there are ways to slow this thing down, right? Can you walk us through that, or is that not the case? And you're just at the mercy of the court's docket?
You are, I think in the lower level court there, you have a little bit more control about slowing things down often.
Okay.
I think the Court of Appeals, it's, so if you're at a lower level court, those courts will say, if you've got a conflict, they will work around your conflict. So if you're a really busy lawyer, like, is it Tom Mars, his name? Correct me.
Yeah, that. Tom Mars. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm sure he's a really busy guy, and so he's got all kinds of conflicts. Everyone knows that the Court of Appeals is the mightiest, and so if they say this is the schedule, this is the schedule. Absent somebody getting seriously ill, or maybe federal court or the Supreme Court would trump that scheduling if they would prefer something else. But Court of Appeals, to a degree, they'll work with you on your schedule, but they're pretty authoritative. So, but you can kind of drag your feet. It could take a while to get the, if it were me, and nobody said this, and I'd be open to others to disagree, but if it were me, I kind of want Judge Haggerty to take this thing under advisement for as long as possible.
Yes.
Because you really can't appeal his ruling until he issues his ruling.
Yes.
And so, you've got this temporary restraining order. Technically, Joey's free to move about the cabin, as you said, until this thing is heard. If we think that Haggerty's going to decide consistent with his temporary restraining order, then I would say, take your time, Chancellor, on issuing that ruling, because however far out that is, that's when the appeals process starts. Now, I suppose the NCAA could ask for kind of an expedited briefing. They could request that the Court of Appeals go as fast as they will. But again, that's still probably a slow process. And the Court of Appeals doesn't have to get moved fast if they don't want to. It's really up to them.
Marcos, you were in the chat with us celebrating the basketball win last night over on YouTube. It was fun to see you in there mixing it up with people. You are a season ticket holder in all these sports. You're a high-level donor to UT and involved with them in several ways. So the next step for this thing, the next piece of this that's going to break open, I believe, because I called the bounce-back transfer in basketball, the Bediako thing, I called that a couple years ago. It does not take vision to see that somebody on one of these rosters, or let's say a GMAC gets his TRO, right? Or not GMAC, I'm sorry. Freudian slip on my part. Let's say that Joey gets his TRO and then gets his rolling. And what if he says now, you know what? Duke needs a quarterback. These people over here need a quarterback. Somebody over here needs a quarterback. I'm really glad, that this Mars guy has decided in my favor, and I played the home game over here. But I am free to move about the cabin now. But I'm now outside of the transfer window, Marcos. But it wasn't collectively bargained. Am I naive here? Because I know you've got to run, to think that him or somebody else could then say, I'm going to create my own transfer window, that could be a next step in this as we see more of these cases happen?
That is something, another one of your listeners, Lawyer and I have discussed Zach Lawson and Andy Kofer, and we've talked about throwing around the office a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know. And I think the idea of the transfer portal violates the Sherman Antitrust Act, the federal act. I think it restricts trade in a way that is kind of arbitrary.
Yeah, and it wasn't bargained, right? So there is no
sense, right, that we try to confine it to certain times. So
yeah.
I think he could do that. What I don't know and haven't thought through, it's a great question,
yeah,
is that this decision
Yeah.
is based on Tennessee state law.
Mm-hmm.
He is currently operating within Tennessee state jurisdiction.
Mm-hmm.
And so can he transfer? Maybe he could transfer to ETSU, University of Memphis, some other school in Tennessee, maybe Vanderbilt, because all the universities in the state, to some degree, are governed by state law.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just wondering if he went up to Kentucky,
lines. Yep.
if his injunction would be valid.
Wow,
right?
that's
Because it's a
interesting.
Tennessee injunction and again,
Yeah.
because you've asked such a great question, I've started my gut says this is a Tennessee injunction. Could he really go to another state under that injunction? If I were the NCAA, if he ends up in Kentucky, I would file and say this violates, our rules, our law,
Yeah.
or whatever. And then you'd have to have somebody go in there and argue Kentucky law. I'm not sure about that, Tony, to be honest. I try to.
It's
try not
super
to make
interesting.
stuff up,
No, it's super interesting because, Marcos, what we have now, and you saw this with the Ziegler case when you guys were involved with it, the courts are now running college sports. The NCAA for years and years had an iron grip on this thing. Every time they get in a court of law now, they're going to lose. They lose home games. They lose road games. They know that too, by the way, Marcos. They know this thing they have now, this commission, this clearinghouse thing where they get to determine your worth versus the free market determining your worth. That is about as unconstitutional as, I mean, look, I'm no constitutional scholar, Marcos. That I'm kind of a dummy with like a 75 IQ. That makes zero sense to me or anybody listening that has a modicum of intelligence. But Marcos, on the way out, let's tie this into a neat little package here. The TRO is great news for Tennessee fans that want to see Joey football back for year 2 in Knoxville. The TRO is a signal that his side is going to be probably on the winning side, right, on the way out here. And the time frame with which that happens is it's kind of nebulous, but it could be very quick. Could be Friday, and it could be what, 2 or 3, 4 weeks, something like that.
I would think so, and I'm rooting for 4 weeks.
Yeah, you got to root for Mm-hmm.
And so, and here's one thing I don't know. I believe the way a TRO, the way the statute's written, is good for 15 days, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And so I don't know that the law requires the chancellor, this is something I'd have to look up, to issue a ruling within that 15 days.
Yeah.
I sort of think he probably could hear it on Friday and say, I'm going to take this under advisement. In the meantime, I'm going to extend the temporary restraining order until I make my ruling and then maybe rule a month later. I'm not positive that he can do that under the law, and sometimes even if the law is vague on it, he might do it anyway. So that's what I don't know. The other thing is, Tony, what was your analogy? You said it's as though they're up 28-0 or what?
Yeah, 28. 28-0. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'd say it's more like 2 touchdowns.
Okay, fair enough.
If I'm going to assign
fair enough
gut value to our analogy, I'd say we're up by 2 touchdowns.
So you have a 14-point lead. There's still work to do. You got to play a good game and not turn it over in court on Friday, right?
Yeah, that's what I would say.
Marcos,
that's
I love
not written in the statute either, though, huh?
And as I say in the trade, love your show, brother. You dominated for 25 minutes. Garza Law Firm. I see why you're great at what you do. I know that every day, though, man. And I talk to so many people that deal with you and love you and deal with your people. And shout out my boy Andy Kofer and Lanassa and all the great folks there. And I love you, man. Anything else you want to add here on the way out? And I love seeing you mix it up in the chat with folks too, Marcos, on the post-game show.
Man,
that's fun. That was fun
glad
last night.
I'm glad they let you back on. I love it, and I appreciate Sammy trying to drum up a little business for the Garza Law Firm too. So shout out to Sammy.
Hey, Marcos, by the way,
he's trying to get Chris Beard as a client for
Andy
me. I
here's a
really
truth.
appreciate him being thoughtful.
Marcos knows how nutty I am because he saw all the threats from YouTube and the way they were threatening me, and I wasn't listening to them. And we basically got banned from YouTube for like 1 million copyright strikes. I just ignored them. I didn't know they were run by Google, Marcos. I didn't know they could just say, hey, Basilio, you out of here. But Marcos got us, with Andy Kofer over there, got us reinstated. And that's why we're on here right now. So, hey, Marcos, I love you, man. I appreciate you, buddy.
Hey, I love you too. And rest in peace, Mike Carver.
Yep.
We're all going to miss him.
We're going to celebrate that man on Saturday. Thank you, Marcos. I love you.
Love you too. Thank you.
And the great Garza Law Firm, online at garzalaw.com. Again, garzalaw.com. And you see why they win. Cinco, I want you to hold your thoughts, because on the other side, we're going to jump in. And Sean's right. Look, I've done this for years and years and years and years. This is strange. Sean's right. It's a great way of putting it. I don't know how to feel. I wrote in the blog today that there are two arguments here, and people are arguing amongst each other. I'd love to see this happen, or, it's time for something else. And Matt Dixon said yesterday, both sides are right. Both sides are right. Both sides make a good point. People like me that say, hey, this guy's had his career and it's time for something else. And let's play one of the kids and see what they got this year. And, the schedule's the schedule anyway. And then there are people out there going, hey, wait a second. This guy had Georgia beat last year. He played with a growing tumor on his arm that's now been removed. And look, even though I'm on the other side of this, I'm on the, I don't want to see Joey back here next year. And I also say, because I'm an honest broker and try to present everything honestly, as we learn facts, talking to people inside UT's program, he would throw the ball downfield last year and come to the sidelines and be in total pain after throwing deep balls. That tumor got so bad. I asked Adam Sparks on the show of record yesterday, and that's why it is a show of record. We just unpacked that thing like it was. Now you're boned up on it. Now we know what the deal is. Now we know the subject. We can deal with it. On the other side, we're going to have Watson Brown on. Watson Brown knows the McIntyre family. We're going to talk to him about this, about the ramifications there, and just all these moving parts and how you manage this as a football coach. Because, Brian, ironically enough, the subject, as you suggested, for Watson's appearance was going to be what? What was going to be the best thing to happen, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And here
What's
we are.
What's best for the program?
What's best? What is best? What is best? We'll come back on the other side, 865-200, 5402. We're not going to take any calls right now, but the next thing you're going to see, and I don't know if McIntyre's going, I'm going to ask Watson about it. I don't know that McIntyre or Brandon's like some kind of flight risk. I don't know that. I haven't heard that. But I am going to ask him about it. And at some school somewhere, as this starts to happen more and more, somebody else is going to create their own portal. Or somebody's going to go through spring practice and go, you know what? I stayed with this new coach, but he's a liar. I don't like him. I don't like the smell way his cologne smells, whatever it is. I had to break up with my girlfriend, and I won't be here anymore. I'm be on the same campus with her, whatever it is. And by the way, I'm getting out of here. And they're going to, yeah. I've been using Laura's phone for the last 30 minutes. Thank you, honey. And so this is crazy. This thing's nuts. And I like Sean's honesty. You say what you want to say about Cinco. Cinco gonna give you his. That's why he and I kind of speak the same language. I don't always agree with Sean, but he came on here today and said, I have no idea how to feel about this. This is not college sports anymore. I don't know what this is. It's not college. It's not professional. The best way I can put it is it's unprofessional sports. It's unprofessional sports is what this is, because there's nothing professional about the way college sport has organized this. because it's not organized. It's complete chaos. The coaches and the players are left to sort this out. And you know who makes the rules? The courts, not the NCAA. I told George Plaster Show yesterday in my appearance with them that the NCAA is a little donkey now sitting in the corner in the fetal position. That's all they are. Or a sheep, if you will. Sitting right over there in the corner. Sitting right over there in the corner. And I know, look, some of you are through the roof and over the moon, and you want me to say, yay, Joey Football back again. Tony, you named him that. Hey, I respect the hell out of that kid. He's a tough guy. And ultimately, if they emerge victorious in this thing, I'm going to root him on. You know me. I'm going to root him on, but I got to give you my opinion in real time. You're either going to respect that or you're not. But when you turn this show in, you're going to get from me what I think. I don't stick my finger in the air because I'm talented enough. If I was to put the finger in the air and tell people what they want to hear, guy, I could be making a whole lot more money than I make. But to thine own self be true, my brother and my sister. I put my head on the pillow at night and I sleep well because I empty the bucket on here. The bucket. And we're going to do that with Watson Brown as we continue. It's a Wednesday with Watson presented by our friends at Simpson's Meats. Thank you to Marcos Garza. Boy, that was right off the top of his head. Is he impressive or what? As we continue with more after this.
When it's time for your next move, you want to get your precious belongings from point A to point B with your peace of mind intact. That's why you need to call my friends at Gufon Moving and Storage, East Tennessee's moving legend. Gufon Moving and Storage has been helping East Tennesseans move since 1887. That's 138 years, 5 generations. That's even longer than the Dooley, Jones, and Pruitt era combined. Gufon Moving and Storage are pro movers, serving Knoxville, surrounding areas, and interstate moves too, both residential and commercial. And we'll provide you with personalized service that other corporate movers simply cannot. We know how to move all types of items. We pay careful attention to our clients' valuables. Your satisfaction as a customer is our absolute priority. As the oldest continually owned and operated family moving business in the United States, when it's time for your next move, it's Gufon Moving and Storage. And storage, it's secure and vaulted. Our newest offering of commercial storage logistics, we offer receiving, storage, and delivery services for all your business logistic needs. See more at Gufon.com. That's Gufon.com. Or check out the link at tclub.team. When it's time for your next move, East Tennessee's moving legend, Gufon Moving and Storage.
Life never stops moving. And between the 30-minute commutes, daycare pickups, weekly soccer practice, Tuesday night yoga, X number of coffee runs, and that weekend trip to grandma's, you're racking up the miles. What you need is a tire that can keep up. A tire designed for doers. A tire that's going to last. Like the exceptionally long-lasting Michelin Defender tire. With an 80,000-mile warranty and the safety and comfort you expect, you can forget all about the miles ahead and focus on getting to your destination or conquering your to-do list. Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. That's Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. Fleet Tire.
Inward Half is committed to the game and the memorable moments that happen in between. From the tee box to the tailgate, from the green to the big game. For the first birdie with Dad, the first big win with Mom. Friday night lights, Saturday superstitions, Sunday traditions. Fall into the comfort and unparalleled performance of Inward Half. This fall, enjoy the walk-in.
Are you tired of hiding your smile because of crooked teeth? At Knoxville Smiles, we've got the perfect solution. Invisalign. No metal, no wires, just clear, comfortable aligners that straighten your teeth without anyone noticing. Eat what you want, smile with confidence, and see results in as little as 6 months. Call us today for more information about Invisalign, 865-539-1776. Or just visit us online at knoxvillesmiles.com. Smile brighter with Knoxville Smiles.
Out-of-town law firms have been swarming into East Tennessee lately. From Memphis, Chattanooga, and Birmingham, they've stormed into the area. Wouldn't you rather do business with a local firm? You know, a true neighbor. Marcos Garza and the pros at the Garza Law Firm are just that. There are neighbors and friends that support local causes year-round. The Garza Law Firm works to serve you professionally on criminal matters, injuries and accident matters, and Social Security and disability filings. The Garza Law Firm is here for you at garzalaw.com. The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Cold weather is here. Is your heating system ready and running efficiently? Don't wait to find out. A simple tune-up now can help prevent costly breakdowns when you need your heat the most. Right now, Pipe Wrench is offering a $79 heating system tune-up to keep your home warm, safe, and worry-free all winter long. Our certified technicians inspect, clean, and fine-tune every part of your heating system for maximum efficiency and comfort, helping you avoid surprise breakdowns and high energy bills. And with Pipe Wrench Home Service's same-day service guarantee, you won't be left out in the cold waiting for help. Your comfort isn't just our job, it's our promise. Schedule your $79 heating system tune-up today at pipewrench.com before winter decides to test your heater. Pipe Wrench Home Services, trusted in Knoxville, Maryville, Oak Ridge, and neighboring communities for over 20 years. And as always, same-day service guaranteed or the visit is free. For standard systems only, visit pipewrench.com for details.
TB here with Alan of WeShipFloors.com. Tell them about it, Alan.
Hey, I'm Alan from WeShipFloors.com. Our competition's prices, well, they're going up. Ours are coming down. Our waterproof floor Supercore is the best, and right now it starts at $199 a square foot. Our warehouses are full of 4mm, 6mm, and 8mm. You strapped for cash? Well, we have our own in-house financing. Use our room visualizer and order some free samples today. Supercore from WeShipFloors.com. Best products at best price.
Like Alan said, head over to WeShipFloors.com. Use the room visualizer on the website. Drop in any of the 120 Supercore floors virtually into your room and order your free samples today. WeShipFloors.com. Tennesseans, they are us. The best product, the best price. WeShipFloors.com. Living Vol fan, when it's time to get ready for 2026 and what's ahead, there's only one place. It's Alumni Hall, the best and largest selection of Tennessee apparel for the whole family. Top brands, Nike, Champion, Columbia, Peter Millar. And check this out. All the basketball stuff that the Tennessee basketball fan could ever need. Some great Tennessee baseball stuff as well. Any season, any reason. Alumni Hall, 3 locations in Knoxville. Also Murfreesboro, Bristol, and now open, of course, in Johnson City. And anytime online, alumnihall.com. Say it loud, say it proud. The ultimate volunteer shopping experience, Alumni Hall. Score a TD every time with T3 Vodka. T3 is Tennessee's premium vodka, handcrafted with passion, precision, and a whole lot of pride. T3 Vodka is taking the volunteer state by storm. T3 Vodka, handcrafted in the majesty of the foothills of the Great Smoky Mountains, where quality isn't just a promise, it's a way of life. Filtered 10 times and 80 proof. T3 Vodka delivers a smoothness that's unmatched. This dedication to excellence has already earned T3 Vodka prestigious accolades. T3 is a 5-time gold medal winning vodka and the 2025 SIPS Consumer Choice Award medal winner. Whether you're sipping it neat or on the rocks or mixing up your favorite cocktail, T3 Vodka is your choice for a premium, award-winning experience. Score a T3 TD and ask for T3 Vodka by name at restaurants and wine and liquor stores today. Drink it neat, drink it right, drink T3 Vodka and score a touchdown every time. T3, Tennessee's premium vodka. Please drink responsibly.
Bradley's and your Tony Basilio Show are a Knoxville tradition. And these days, just like Tony B's show is taking off like a rocket ship, so have my friends at Bradley's. Sure, they still have all the delicious chocolate you're used to, like the chocolate-covered popcorn and the assortment boxes. They're now called Bradley's Gift and Home, and they have so much more than chocolate. Bradley's Gift and Home has all kinds of amazing curated gifts, jewelry, candles, and other for her gift items that will keep you from having to go anywhere else. Guys, Trust me, as Basilio would say, Bradley's Gifted Home have taken it to the next level. And remember, Bradley's will have freshly dipped chocolate-covered strawberries in milk and white chocolate at both of their locations, 141 North Peters Road and 138 Biddle Farms Boulevard in Farragut next to Tupelo Honey. Strawberries available February 13th and 14th. See you at Bradley's Bradley's Gift and Home. See our website, shopbradleys.com.
He crazy. But old habits die hard. My friends at Bradley's Shop. We'll be giving some Bradley's chocolate-covered strawberries away in milk or white chocolate. They've got them for you on the 13th and 14th in 2 locations now, one in Farragut, and then, of course, out off North Peters Road. So Watson Brown joins us weekly on here, and we're blessed to have him. And he was supposed to go earlier, and then Marcos Garza jumped in there and took us under wings. And now, and I was sharing with Watson what Marcos had said as he took us under wings earlier. And I'm going to bring the great Watson Brown now in, presented by our friends at Simpson's Meats. And Simpson's Meats can ship anywhere in the world. They're incredible. They're great. They're wonderful people. This is what they do, and it's really remarkable. But Jim Simpson's had a family farm since 1888, and they've raised and sourced their meats from that farm on pasture, on purpose, comfortably continuing a tradition that began in 1888. And you will, ladies and germs, and I do mean germs, you will taste the difference. You will taste the difference. Let's, without further ado, SimpsonsMeats.com. Watson Brown, there's a lot to talk about today. There's a lot to chew on. The great thing about Simpson's Meats is you don't have to chew the fat. You know, you get the real deal Holyfield there. But let's talk about this. So Tennessee's in a spot now where Joey Aguilar's now received a temporary restraining order against the NCAA in a Knoxville court. They're going to reappear on Friday. There's a lot of moving parts here. We have 2 young quarterbacks. Question for you, Watson. Your read on it. Is this Tennessee's? Did they have a whole card the whole time when they were sitting at the poker table, do you think? Think they knew they had this whole card?
Absolutely, they did. There's no doubt in my mind they had a whole card. And that's why I think they've been very patient in what they've done, because they always thought there's a possibility that they could get Joey back. And don't think that wasn't discussed with the McIntyre family from day one, right after the season was over. And so I see this as it's playing itself out. It's making sense now why Tennessee just didn't really go after one. As soon as the portal opened, they just didn't jump, and we're wondering why. And I think this is why. We got one. If we don't, this is still a possibility, and we've got a good one waiting that needs to gain some weight, but a really good player and a really good freshman. So that's why I think they've taken their time. They've been very patient here, and they're dealing with the McIntyre family. There's one of the kids done this, right? Ty Simpson at Alabama. And what are the background of both of those 2 families, Joey? Tony. What are the background? They're both from football family backgrounds. Ty Simpson's dad has been his college coach through his growing up, and the McIntyre family through the daddy and one uncle, college football coaches all the way through growing up. And so I think they know more. They're a little more patient. They know what it takes to be a great player. And that's why I think you see the McIntyres kind of following the same framework that the Ty Simpson family did.
You know, that's an extremely interesting pull by you, because it's unprecedented the way Ty Simpson sat there
Yep.
I want to say for 3 seasons before he got an opportunity at Alabama. I want to say it was 3 years. That's a pretty great pull by you. That's very.
I believe that, and that's why I think they've been patient and listening to Tennessee tell them what we're thinking and what we might do. And I also think this could very well be the number one reason that there's a change in strength coaches. That they said, we're going to bring in a guy to get you bigger and stronger. There's no doubt in our mind we've got that guy, and we can bring him here. And so I think all of this has been played out for the last couple of months.
So they go big, try to get Levitt, swing a miss.
And did that quickly now. That wasn't, they were not going after him. The door kind of opened when LSU kind of dropped it over the one kid that was coming out where Washington or somewhere, Washington State.
Yeah.
And I don't remember which one, but they kind of backed off of him a minute, and Tennessee said, ooh, let's leave. Made one of them quick decisions. Then bring Prebula in about the same time and let him go thinking they could get the kid that went to LSU. Didn't get him. Said, well, we still got our ace in the hole, and we've still got 2 really good quarterbacks on this team. So that's the way I think they played it out, and I think they're right in the way they've played it.
It's real interesting. And the reason it's interesting to me, Watson, well, there's a myriad of reasons, but one of the things that's going on behind the scenes is that we have a quarterback that just had a surgery in Joey Aguilar. And he was extremely courageous in going out and playing with that tumor in his arm. And I hear from people I talk to there that he would come to the sidelines and he'd be in total pain after throwing the deep ball. We had Adam Sparks on here from the News Sentinel. And I said, Adam, when did you find out about that? Because you know these beat writers are around these guys all the time. They're around the program. You know, they just know everything.
Sure.
It's their job. It is their job to know everything. Let me see that. It's their job. It's their job to know everything. So essentially, the kid never complained. He never leaked it to the media. He never told anybody. But he had to have a surgery, and he's not going to be recovered. And he's not. And what Tennessee, I hear, is pitching to McIntyre is that you're going to get a chance in the spring to carve out, just like you would have, to carve out your own niche here, because this guy's not going to be here. He's not going to be participating, and if he does, it's not going to be to any great repute. He just came off of surgery, and by the way, we know what he can do. So you get an opportunity here. You, the true freshman, and then the guy we brought in here and didn't pay any NIL money to, who wants to experience Tennessee football. And that's all good. That's kind of what we used to do in the old days. So that's pretty interesting, Watson. So that kid now gets an opportunity, if he can get some weight on him, to maybe stake his claim, right?
Absolutely. And I would have thought that all along. I think it's better that it's Joey that he's dealing with, that the kid's dealing with, instead of bringing in a high-profile guy from the outside. They know each other. I bet you they're good friends. So George is, to me, watching him, he's really tried to take over here in the winter. He went down to Florida with receivers and worked out with them. I think this is all a good thing. And the other thing that's good for Tennessee, Tony, to me, you're dealing with 2 really good kids. Joey Aguilar is a great kid. He's been Tennessee first since he walked in the door. He's proud to be there, very loyal to Tennessee, played through pain, and I promise you that's why he didn't play as well at the end of the year as he did early. I promise you that tumor grew. The pain got worse as he used it more and more and more. And so it didn't say a word, didn't complain, didn't blame, didn't do anything. So you got 2 really good kids. Tennessee's lucky in that way, that these are two classy kids that however this thing falls out, I can tell you right now, just listening to Joey and how he's handled himself, if George McIntyre beat him out in the summer, you would hear nothing but positives from him. And he'd back him, he'd help him all he could, blah, blah, blah. That's the way I believe it would fall. And I think the same thing if Joey's the guy and George has to be the backup. So I think Tennessee has got a really lucky and maybe played it out knowing what they had. Let's give them some credit here, too. I think this is all a positive sign. I don't know that it could have worked out better for Tennessee because Tennessee, if Joey gets well, if this surgery and everything he gets well from, and if George McIntyre hangs around, which I 100% believe he will, and I don't know that. This is me looking on the outside looking in. I think the scenario is going to work itself out, and it's going to be good for Tennessee, and then it'll lead to, one way or the other, it'll lead to the next season after that. But this gives Tennessee a better shot than this year, a much better shot. And honestly, letting Joey sit, because he's had a full season of playing, letting him sit through the spring, letting George have all of that, really is the best thing for Tennessee football. And to get him those reps now and to kind of be the guy without being the guy, if you understand what I mean by that. So I see all of this as a very positive for the University of Tennessee.
Watson Brown joining. It's a Wednesday with Watson. We're going to continue to discuss the ramifications. I'm going to bring Sean and Brian in here and kind of mix it up with them and get their thoughts as you try and digest exactly what's in front of us here. I got to keep it live and legal. Let me get a quick legal here. We continue our conversation with the great Watson Brown.
You're listening to FM 105.7 and AM 1340, WKGN Knoxville and W289CU Knoxville, Fanrun Radio.
So we've had two guests that cogently are presenting this topic in such a way and handling this with such deftness. Hey, Watson, you're kind of a smart guy, man. By the way, Pete Thamel is.
I get a lot of experience from being dumb. How's that?
Two other nuggets to put into the hopper for consideration in the conversation. Pete Thamel's reporting the injunction hearing for Tennessee scheduled for Friday has been moved back to February 13. Aguilar's lawyers asked for this Friday, but the hearing's expected to be pushed back for the following Friday. And as Marco said earlier, it's better for Tennessee if this happens later. Now, it might not be better for that hearing because now the NCAA gets another week to present their case. But Marco said that the attorneys, Watson, created or given such a huge runway to land the plane with because they've amended Tennessee state law like they've amended laws in a lot of these places to make things so much more friendly toward the NIL within the state, where it's just so hard for the NCAA now to come in and say, you can't do this in this state. And the judges up there going, wait a second. Unfortunately for you, that's not what the law says here. And that's kind of here, there, and everywhere. But Tennessee was one of the first states to do it. The other piece of information is that the great Adam Sparks, who's digging like crazy, is reporting that, in fact, Joey Aguilar is already enrolled in classes at the University of Tennessee. So
I would have thought that.
Yeah,
that doesn't surprise me.
You know what it feels like? It feels like Tennessee's been kind of orchestrating this.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
They're lucky because of who they're dealing with. But they have orchestrated it out, and that's why we all sit and said, well, why are they not after a quarterback? Why are they? Well, maybe they want to put it more in defensive players. Yeah. They had this plan all along to me, and then the only thing that upset the apple cart a little bit, and this is outside looking in, I don't have anybody telling me this.
Yes.
This is on the outside looking in, but when the Arizona State young man all of a sudden showed up, as there he is, do we want to make a shot at him? Then Tennessee did that, but they did not go out immediately and try to find a quarterback. And that's why I think the ace in the hole was there's always this possibility here. And so it's going to play itself out to me in the perfect way. I think Joey will be eligible. I think George getting that work in the spring and even being ahead in the summer because of the therapy and the physical therapy that Joey will have to have through the spring and all of that. You're messing with a throwing arm now. So, I mean,
that's right. No guarantees.
You
There's
understand
no guarantees.
that don't get well just tomorrow.
That's right. That's right.
And so I don't see how it could work out much better than it's going to.
Sean Sinclair, Penny, for your thoughts as we digest this together. Because Cinco jumped in here, Watson, a half hour or so ago. And so, like 40 minutes ago, and said, "Look, I don't know how to feel about this, man, because these sports are so different now, and it's crazy." And
he's right.
It's nuts. But Cinco,
right. Sean's absolutely right.
So let's try and digest what we're all ingesting here, and try to your thoughts, Sean. Now that we're 40 minutes down the road here, learning what we've learned.
Well, when I was at UT, I had the good fortune of having a lot of those football players as my friends and roommates, and they're real people. And for the longest time, and I know there were administrators that cared. Coach cared as a coach. He cared obviously as an athletic director. These kids aren't just meal tickets, but however, the system has been jacked against them the whole time. And the word that's always matters is eligibility. The eligibility has hung over these players' heads forever. If you don't go to class, you lose your eligibility. If you don't keep your mouth shut, you lose your eligibility. Guess what? Every other student in the world can have a job. We're going to restrict the amount of money or your opportunity to make money, whether it's at a bottling place or a construction site. If you do more than that, you're going to lose your eligibility. If you want to transfer, you have to sit out a year. And not only that, we as administrators can dictate where you can and can't go. So given that, we've even seen in the court of law, they actually, the NCAA had a monopoly and was able to keep that monopoly by changing definitions. They invented the term student athlete so it would look more and more favorable to a court. They were, kids were just keep your mouth shut and keep playing. And it wasn't like a servitude, but it was the only opportunity that a kid had if he wanted to become a professional football player. Very few players are like Mark Wahlberg from that movie with your Eagles, and you go to a tryout and that's fantasy. It maybe happened one or two times. So anything that favors a kid, regardless of how chaotic, I am for. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but the scales in this have been tipped so far against the kid and their families that I'm for an overcorrection.
Watson, your thoughts on Cinco's take?
Well, he's dead right. But that doesn't also mean it's the best for all the way around for college football. I don't know that it is or it's not. It's going to play itself out.
Right. Well,
but he's absolutely right. The kids I've never, ever said anything against the kid when all this started. I was one. And I can remember standing in a line for $15. We got $15 and we were about 100 of us in a line to get that $15, man. We could do a lot of things with $15 in those days. And so what these kids deserve everything they get. That's not the issue to me. It's not what the kids deserve. Is this all going to end up best for college athletics as we keep going down the road? I think it's got to be tweaked in ways, but I think it will never go away now. It's here, and it's here forever.
The other thing, and Alan Ward's right about this. We ship floors, Alan Ward, who's in the chat over on YouTube. The other thing that's really interesting right now is that what they're basically saying is your junior college time is not going to count. That's Pavia was the first to they saw that loophole. Hey, I wasn't playing Division I football. I wasn't playing for money. I wasn't even at like a 1AA school where they give me a little extra stipend to play, like they do at some of the 1AA halves. And so I was at junior college playing in the dirt, getting tackled with the safety pins on the ground and the rocks and the stones on the field. Isn't that an interesting thing when you think about it, Watson, the ramifications of this?
Absolutely, and you're dead right. That's why I enjoy being on with y'all. You're right on track. I've been to every one of them. Recruit.
Yep.
There's probably not a football playing junior college I hadn't been to, and it's a different world, man. It's a different world. You're there for one reason alone, to get a shot at getting to play college football. Not junior college football, but college football. And so I understand what they're using in the courts, and I think it's going to play itself out. And so you're going to see, and the other thing that's happening, Tony, that bothers me is you're not seeing high school kids sign the same way.
No.
When you're not near seeing the number of high school kids being signed. The better schools, the better Power Fours are still taking high school kids.
Mm-hmm.
But as it goes down, you're seeing less and less of that, and it's down in the FCS where they might not be taking any. Some of those schools. I mean, it's so you got to find a way, and maybe this is the way the high school kid now, if he doesn't get to go, the 5-star dude and the 4-star dude, they're going to go somewhere.
Yes.
But as you start getting 3-star down, this is probably the route they're going to go, because really it's just like the old prep school deal. The way Baylor, McCallie, Kessel Heights, all of those used to be in this state.
Yes.
That's exactly what that was. And it didn't count as anything.
I will park you
and
in
junior college. You came in as a freshman, and that's what I think junior college is going to be. That's where we're headed.
I'll take a 3-star kid, park you there. We'll have a relationship with a junior college. I'll tell you something else I need to consider that I'm going to bring up on a future show. I want you to think about this, Watson. Another thing that they really need to consider here is the concept of junior varsity football. You know, for years and years and years, you had it, and then they did away with it.
I played it.
Hey, everybody played it. Yeah, coming up, everybody played it.
It was not junior varsity, it was freshman. We played freshman football, which might as well be junior varsity. And I mean, we'd have 10, 20,000 people at the games. It was important. My freshman year, we went 5-0. We beat Tennessee, Alabama, Georgia, Ole Miss, and Kentucky.
That's cool.
And it was a big deal. It was a big deal. You get on buses and take off and play on Fridays, usually, maybe Thursdays. Every once in a while, Thursdays or Fridays. Yep. And it was really good football, man. I mean, you didn't walk in as much like people would have thought in those days as a guy that's not played any. Coming out of high school, you got a good year against really good college football players, I think they should go back to that personally.
Especially now that they're 105, because if you
not freshmen, but just junior varsity.
Well, you have a roster of 105, okay? So, and that's what they're going to sign to now at SEC schools, or can. If that's the case, you could take your 2 young quarterbacks this year and develop them. You could take your young offensive linemen and develop them. You could have your young coaches coach the same system that you're coaching. They get great experience. All those
you got plenty of coaches.
45 analysts, like Watson said. So you wouldn't have one person doing it. I think it'd be a great thing for them to look at doing that. And I think people would come, Watson. I think you could raise money doing it. I think people would come and watch those games.
They did. They did before. They did before when we played Tennessee or Alabama or Georgia and Nashville. I mean, we had good crowds. We had very good. They were always afternoon games, and it's amazed me. And as we kept winning in that year, it got better and better and better. And so, absolutely, because you're getting to see the next wave of really good players coming in from both schools.
Probably televise it.
It was like a minor league system, and I tell you, that one year probably did as much for me, Tony, as a football coach, because the freshman coach was hired as a freshman coach in those days. And when I was first year of coaching, I was the defensive coordinator. I got to be a defensive coordinator for a year.
Yep.
and coached the secondary. And you think that didn't help me a bunch getting both sides of the ball, because I'd always been on the offensive side as a player. So it meant so much to me as a coach. I think they should go back to something like that. And I don't mean to be getting off subject here.
It all ties in, because essentially what they're going to do here is they're going to find a way to park more and more players that they can kind of keep, or you've got to figure out a way to develop them. Because now Tennessee's in a spot where they were going to use this fall to develop one of those two young quarterbacks with an eye toward 2027. And this is where the rubber meets the road, Watson. This is why I didn't want to see, or don't want to see, Aguilar back. And I'm just very honest about it. I want to see one of those kids play, and I want to get on with let's look ahead to 2027. And I know people think that sounds crazy, but there certainly is that's not an unintelligent thought by me. You could disagree with it.
It's not unintelligent, but it's not the thought process that the coaches would use.
That's exactly right.
I can tell you that now. They want to win now. Period.
And he knows.
You never play to next year.
Yes.
You just don't think that way as a coach. And I promise you, the good staff that's there right this minute is not thinking that way whatsoever.
Watson Brown, I love you. Tell me about the Super Bowl Sunday. What's going to happen? Because everybody else will tune in to watch the commercials. Who wins the game and why? Who do you like here?
I like the quarterback that plays the best. Both really solid defenses. Good offenses, not great. Quarterback play is solid by both, and I think the quarterback that plays the best wins. And I can't pick it. This is a tough one for me. Everybody seems to always want to go against New England, and they show up every week. They say, well, they've had an easy schedule. Well, this, well, that. Well, they caught Denver without their quarterback. I've heard all the excuses, and usually when that happens, look out, because that team's been on a run all year long, and they play solid defense, man. You have to beat them, and so I think the quarterback that plays the best, I guess I'm dodging you, but the quarterback that plays the best in this game is going to be the winners.
Your brother had the make kid. Alabama absolutely tried to get him at one time.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they went hard after him. You talk about a tamper job.
That's another family deal now. There you go. Here's another family deal. That whole family had been Carolina Blues.
And they were not going anywhere. And they
weren't going anywhere.
A huge deal. They turned down a lot of money a couple years ago.
Absolutely.
And so we can say that now. But here's the thing. Did you ever think in a million years that kid would be in that position this quickly in his NFL career? And that franchise looks like they found one of those go-go quarterbacks that everybody's looking for that sets you up for the next decade.
Yeah, and he his couple of years to play, he followed the kid that was with the Redskins. I forget his name now, but he was sitting for a little bit, just like George. He sit for a while.
Yep.
Got his shot. He's never on a team with very good defense. So he's always behind the eight ball. He always having to make play after play after play. They were having to score a lot of points to win games. And so I think once he got on a really good defense here, he's coming out. I thought he had all the twos coming out. I did. I thought he had everything that you needed to be a great NFL player.
So amazing. That's so cool. It's a great story. And knowing the backstory about how he's the one guy that said, I'm not for sale. Like, I'm not leaving. And that was on the front end of the NIL deal.
Well, and I'm sure my brother took care of him. I'm not saying that by him.
Yeah, he wasn't on a mercy mission.
I know my brother well enough to know he's going to do that.
Yeah, he wasn't on a mercy
mission. And I don't
mission.
know that I don't know what he paid him or anything, but I promise you the young man made good money. But he stayed not for the money. He stayed because of the deep Carolina background. Cool. That he just couldn't walk away from.
Yes,
isn't that pretty neat? We still got a little of that.
Brother, father, grandfather, uncle. I mean, that
well, and that's why I say, and I'll finish with this, Tony. That's why I think Ty Simpson did not go to Miami. He wanted to be a Crimson Tide man for the rest of his life, and he didn't want to lose that by going to Miami. And that's why I think George McIntyre. I think he loves it there, and he wants to be a Tennessee man. And I'll be shocked. I would be absolutely shocked if he left.
Watson Brown, tremendous insight from you. My friends at Simpson's Meats, thank you. Unbelievable. The great Sam Bruce, I bow thy heed when I say your name and that entire staff and crew there. And listen, they've got half and quarter cows available for you. Steaks make a great gift. Gift boxes available. You can ship that premium meat anywhere they will in the world. SimpsonsMeats.com. Also in West Knoxville off Level Road, they've got a great shop there for steaks and burgers and sausages. Go by and pick some up today. A variety of local offerings at their butcher shop. They got the milk, the honey, the jam, the eggs, and so much more. Stop by and taste the best that the Tennessee community has to offer. Simpsons Meats, and it is Watson Brown tested and Watson Brown approved. And Coach, I love you, man. Enjoy the Super Bowl. And that was it was interesting today talking this topic out with you, my man.
Well, it's always an honor to be on with you, and it's an honor to represent Simpsons Meats because it is absolutely delicious.
Oh, thank you, Watson. You're the man.
Okay, guys. See ya.
The great Watson Brown, bow thy head. When we come back, I want to ask you your thoughts on this. Because, I mean, let's just be honest about it. Watson and Marcos took us to school on this thing. Marcos says we're up 14-0. Joey Aguilar looks like he's going to be back. Joey football. Tennessee looks like they've played this thing masterfully. They're presenting it to GMAC saying, hey, I got a kid over here that just had a surgery. Spring's yours, man. Spring's yours. The spring's yours. And then they look at him and they say, hey, man, you need to get your arm healed. And then maybe, this GMAC guy gains some weight between now and then. They go out and they have a real battle in the summer. Maybe we have a battle. Maybe we have a QB battle. Hey, this, Take a brief time out. I want to hear from you at 865-200-5402. Special thanks to Marcos Garza, your Garza Law Firm, and the great Watson Brown. It's your time, our time, as we continue after this.
It's the hottest post-game show on the planet. Garza Law. Fifth quarter fan reaction. Fan reaction. As soon as the final gun sounds, we're live.
When it's time for a fresh coat of paint, run, don't walk to Walker's Painting. Interior and exterior, Walker's Painting's been making it beautiful since 1999 across the Knoxville area. New construction, repaints, commercial, residential, free estimates available. And get this, mention you heard Walker's Painting on the Basilio Show, 10% off your first job. Let's go! Run, don't walk to Walker's Painting. 865-688-1410. That's 865-688-1410. Walker's Painting, making it beautiful since 1999. Check out the ad at the blog at tclub.team. Walker's Painting.
Hi, I'm Jim Simpson, owner of Simpson Meats. When's the last time you grilled a really good burger or steak? One your friends still talk about. Our goal at Simpson Meats is to make that happen every time you have a cookout. All of our cuts of meats, steaks, burgers, briskets, and pork are always fresh, flavorful, and sustainably sourced. We are family owned, so we know the importance of knowing how and where your food is raised. We have been putting quality first since 1888. Visit our butcher shop off Lovell Road or online at simpsonmeats.com.
Okay, so we really need uniforms and equipment for this season. Can I trust you with that? Cool, I'll just order them online. What? Yeah, I'm going to hop online and I'm going to get them ordered. Hold up, that's not a good idea. We shouldn't just spend money on some random online retailer, okay? I mean, it seems pretty convenient. Trust me, it's a terrible idea. Let me simplify this for you. SM Athletics. Okay, how do you pronounce it? SM Athletics? They're the go-to for uniforms and equipment, whether it's for universities, high schools, youth leagues, you name it. So why wouldn't you rather go with professionals who can guide us through the process, design the perfect uniforms, and deliver the best equipment? Yeah, I guess that makes sense. What's the name again? SM Athletics. Right. It's definitely smarter to go with a company that emphasizes customer service, fair pricing, and, of course, excellent products. Exactly. So, yeah, I guess it's settled then. For uniforms and equipment for all sports, it's SM Athletics.
When a dangerous, overgrown, or storm-damaged tree is threatening your home, your car, or your family, Don't risk it. Call ECR Total Landscapes, your local tree cutting experts. From precision tree removal and trimming to emergency storm cleanup, ECR Total Landscapes has the equipment and the experience to get the job done safely and efficiently. Call today to set up your free estimate, 865-384-2012, or just go online to ecrtotallandscapes.com.
Josh Collins at Collins Insurance Agency. At Collins Insurance, we strive to ensure our customers receive better coverage along with bigger savings. Our community is important to us. We want to provide exceptional service to our customers. Anybody can provide great rates, great coverage, but can you also get great service? And hey, don't just take my word for it.
What's up, everybody? Zakai Ziegler here. My family turns to Collins Insurance Agency for the best service, coverage, and price.
So don't just go online and get some random insurance. Experience the Collins Insurance difference.
Like he said, experience the Collins Insurance difference. CollinsInsuranceTN.com. CollinsInsuranceTN.com. And hey, their Mama's Easy approved. CollinsInsuranceTN.com. Thank you to Josh Collins and ZZ.
One more thing, Tony. Go Vols.
Newsflash, Basilio listeners, the spring real estate market just moved up. Yes, it's chilly outside and you're still in your puffy coat, but if you need to sell your East Tennessee property, you could be the hottest house on the block. Hi there. Jennifer Morris here with Keller Williams Realty. February is the sweetheart month of real estate, and savvy sellers know exactly what that means. Get ahead of the game and give me a call at 865-694-5904 or reach out at nextmovesmokymountains.com. That's nextmovesmokymountains.com, and go Vols!
Yeehaw! I've been hooting and hollering ever since I started betting with the VIP Play app. VIP Play has more than 200 leagues, every bet type you can imagine, live betting and live hosts, all with 24/7 support from real live people when you need them. Start betting better with the VIP Play app today. Don't be a better, be a better with VIP Play today.
VIP Play coming soon. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789. Must be 21 plus and located in Tennessee to bet.
Achillio here, and you know my friends at Carnes Motor Company started with a dream over a quarter century ago. I met Rob and Brian back when I still had hair, and they were working at a huge dealership in West Knoxville. But they told me back then they wanted to sell cars on their terms, and I wanted to do radio on my terms. Their terms, just like my terms, are ultimately your terms. In both cases, you're the winner. A Car Guru's National Award winner with a 5-star rating on all sites, just like our Vols. Everything about buying a car from Carnes Motor Company is no hassle. They specialize in high-quality pre-owned vehicles between the $5,000 to $25,000 range. And if you need to sell a car, they'll either buy your car or they'll help you sell it. Carnes Motor Company also has a top-notch service department. Therefore, every vehicle is rigorously inspected and serviced prior to delivery. So you're guaranteed to get a quality pre-owned vehicle every time. If you need a place for service, they've got you covered. Come be a part of the Carnes Motor Company family and tell them you heard about it from me. Online at carnesmotor.com, Oak Ridge Highway, 1 mile past the Carnes light. Carnes Motor Company. TB, back with you. I'll be really honest with you. I slept like 3 hours last night because I got this really bad gravelly sore throat thing that comes with like a little fever kind of deal. It's pretty fun. And I was awakened at like 9:30 once I'd gotten back to sleep with this with this Aguilar news. I tell you what sports do today. They really test everything that you thought you knew, college sports. I thought to myself, and I want to talk to Cinco and Bry about this. And if you have a thought on this quarterback deal and this development, because there seems to be a divided camp as to whether or not this is a good thing with what's happening with Joey next fall, and that's okay. But I want to introduce the concept of the first impression and how the first impression in transfer portal era sports, and particularly in basketball, cannot be your lasting impression. This Nate Ament guy, it's fun. It's fun to teach me lessons as we go. Here's a lesson I'm learning, and I've learned. You have to believe your eyes, okay? You have to believe your eyes during the portal era. Like with these football teams in the first month. In basketball, you've got to withhold judgment. You've got to withhold judgment in basketball. Football, first month of the season, you kind of are what you are. Florida State several years ago, they're ranked there, and then they suck. There were certain teams last year that weren't ranked very highly. Indiana the thought was, well, they were 10-2 the year before. That was a cute, fun story. Yeah, they still have an easy schedule, but, and then they rolled out there and started absolutely smashing people. And it was like, oh, okay. Well, here's the thing about what Tennessee's done. This Nate Ament guy, Sean, have you ever seen anything like this guy in 1 month's time? How he's in, because this is the season of roses and chocolate. He's in full bloom right now like a beautiful rose. Cinco. Beautiful rose.
Well, it's just fun watching him. I just watched the highlights. I couldn't see the game last night, but it's just not. I think you might have said a couple weeks ago, it's time for somebody's blank to drop, and now he's just taken over. Was he Carlos Boozer like, or Cam Boozer like early in the year? No, but that's okay. The light seems to have been turned on, and it's just neat because it looks like he's having fun out there.
And Brian, one of the things that we had talked about is he's become a lot more vocal behind the scenes as this whole thing's gone on. And Brian, he was like demanding the basketball last night. It was crazy watching that, because you asked during the. You asked Bride during the Garza Law Tennessee basketball overtime last night, what position is he playing? And the answer is it doesn't really matter on offense because he's positionless. They're letting him initiate possessions now, giving him the ball at the top of the key. They're letting him call his own number and get downhill when he wants to, work to the mid-range. They're letting him at times play a two-man game. They're letting him go off is what they're doing. He is going flat out off now. And it's really, really, really fun to watch, Bri. I was dreading watching them about 3 weeks ago. I'm not going to lie. They had that loss to Kentucky, and I thought, God, this is going to be a long season. This team is kind of uninstinctive, and they're sort of frustrating, and they're going to be lucky to go, whatever. Well, you got 18 games in the league. What'd you think, Bri, at one point? 11-9, something like that? Or not 11? And what was the number going to be?
Well, maybe
10-8.
Maybe 10-8, 10-8-ish.
And now look at it. And now look at it. It's crazy.
I just hope and pray that he's able to stay healthy. We need good health for Nate Ament. I know he got kind of banged up last night, but came back in and just scored after that. So make sure there's no more scares.
Well, I had somebody last night, and I have somebody in the chat right now, but somebody last night on the show was like, well, what's this mean about him coming back next year? Dude, he was never coming back next year. This is how the NBA works. Once they determine that you're a top 10 pick in that draft, it doesn't matter what you do in college. You're going to, unless you totally fall flat on your face and you can't play a lick, if you show you have a pulse at this level, they don't value what you do in college basketball. They could care less. They could literally care less. So suck it up, Buttercup, and enjoy it, because this is going to be a fun ride. Tennessee does not touch their home floor again till they play Valentine's night against LSU. And I have a feeling that he is going to bring a Valentine's treat for them. I predict he goes for at least 30 to 35 in that game. He going to go off on somebody. You can see it coming. He is going to go off on some. Last night he had 2 at the half. He was not. I'm not going to say he wasn't engaged because he was passing the ball really well last night. That's the other thing. He had a couple dishes to a couple teammates that weren't expecting it. And he's just so in control now. Everything is just it's so slow for him all of a sudden. And it's his deal. It's kind of his team. I mean, it's just, I mean, look, I'm going to make a confession to you. I'm blown away by it. And again, you learn things in this era, and those first impressions in hoops cannot be lasting impressions going forward. Not for me. First impressions cannot be lasting going forward. And
he's probably worth more than $4 million the way he's played recently.
Oh, it's crazy. I tell you that, well, Alex Myers told me this earlier in the year, and I repeated it even when he was in the middle of his period where he was struggling. For guys like that, you really don't know till you get to the tournament what they're worth, because really it's a 3-game season. And if you can win all 3, you're back in the Elite 8. And Brian, we have how hard it is today in the blog to get back-to-back Elite 8s. And you have one you want to add, Brian, that you missed, which is?
Yeah, that's Alabama 24 and 25. They're another team. So 6 others beside the Vols and SEC. And, of course, Texas, Oklahoma. Actually, Texas has never done it, I don't think. And Oklahoma has. But that just shows you it's a rare thing to go to back-to-back Elite 8s. Even great Arkansas has only done it 3 times.
Yes. And the SEC this year has got kind of a tweener year, so he's going to have some room to grow and operate. This game in Lexington coming up Saturday night, 8:30 start. I hate these late starts. But this is going to be absolutely awesome. It's going to be phenomenal.
And
it's a chance to pay those clowns back. The whole shooting match.
Get ready for that game to begin on another channel because Duke, North Carolina is at 6:30, and that game is going to last past 8:30.
Duke, North Carolina, and the fawning over it. There's a term I would like to use on the air. I could use in the 3rd hour, but I'm not going to do it here. But it begins with N, and it ends with Batory. That's what that is going to be. That's disgusting. How they show the Red Sox and the Yankees and the Bears and the Packers and all the great sports rivalries, and here's Duke and North Carolina, and nobody in the country gives a damn about watching those 2 teams play. Nobody. As in nobody. As in nobody. So we're wide open for you if you want to get in with us, 865-200-5402. Your thoughts on this news with Joey football and the reemergence. Do you consider this good news? I mean, you have to consider it good news, right? You have to consider it good news. It's extremely interesting as well. And then anything else on your alleged mind as well, we'd love to hear from you. But I'm telling you, and I'm not afraid to tell them myself, I never dreamed we would look like that, and I would never have dreamed that kid this quickly would look like he's looked. He's got another 5 more weeks to grow into this thing. 7 straight games over 20 points. Buddy of mine yesterday told me, well, he takes a lot of shots to get there. I'm like, yeah. All scorers take a lot of shots to get their points. Hello. What's the shooting percentage? Like, I don't give a damn what a shooting percentage is. He gets to the foul line. A bunch. I don't care what your shooting percentage is. When you're paid to be the man and you go out there and you are the man, that's the thing that matters in that sport. And then when your unknowns grow right before our very eyes, and his unknowns are growing. And look, Carmen Basilio was an onion farmer, Conestoga, New York. Tony Basilio is not an onion farmer, but it doesn't take an onion farmer to see onions. Because somebody going to feed. The sweet and the sour, ladies and gentlemen. I love my things a little sweet and sour, and that's why I'm going to tell you about Bradley's. Bradley's chocolate and your Basilio show got two traditions. And they're not even Bradley's chocolate anymore. They're Bradley's what? They're Bradley's what? They're Bradley's what? They're Bradley's gift and home. Joy's like, Tony, don't you call this thing Bradley's chocolate? Joy, I love you. But the message remains the same, just like the song remains the same. The message remains the same, and that is that now not only can you get all the great chocolate gifts that we've gotten down through the years for her, because we're so sweet, right? Aren't we sweet? But now they've got incredible stuff. All kinds of amazing curated gifts, fun things, candles, jewelry, so many for her gifts. You can do a one-stop shop and be like a superhero at Bradley's Gift and Home, or what I call Bradley's Chocolate, but they're online at bradleys.com. You can even shop on their website as well. I'm going to go to the busy phones and get as many people in here. Yeah, so we've had an onion dropping here in the last month, and I'm starting to think Rick Barnes might know a thing or two about hoops as well. I'm starting to think he might be worthy of trusting, because he was literally out there telling the media, hey, look, I've never said this about a player here. This guy's going to be the best player in the tournament by the time the tournament comes. Now, Brian, we were kind of scoffing at that, yes or no? I was sort of laughing at that. Brian, based on what you saw last night and what you've seen in the last 3 weeks, are you laughing at that now?
No, he's a one seed. He might get close to the overall number one seed himself. And the team don't laugh. I think they're looked at as a 4 seed in the latest projection I saw. That could get even higher with the schedule they have coming down the stretch. If they could get Vanderbilt one time, if they could get that Kentucky game back, who knows?
Yeah, and I want to shout out the Wangs out at Oregon State, who spell their name, by the way, Huang, Bino Jeff Henderson. You'd be glad to know that because you're a total simpleton. But yeah, Barnes over there smiling. Nate Ament's over there playing to the crowd. And Kentucky's getting ready to get their ass beat. 3 things I believe. Kentucky's not good. They had zero business beating us the first time around. And then we got, Brian, if we get through Kentucky, how many games in a row are we going to take their winning streak when we play that Vanderbilt bunch?
It could get to 8 games because they've got LSU, Mississippi State, and Oklahoma.
We might have to get back
following that game in some order.
We might have to get back to watch partying. Me and Dubsy ought to do a tag team watch party. And the crew. Dubsy and the crew. Get the whole crew out. We ought to do a watch party. Get the great William Pattison. Break bread. Get Reed and those guys to stay up late. The trouble is these damn games start too late. 8:30 at night. I mean, I'm a working man. Shh. Let's go to the phones. 865-200-5402. Hi, welcome in. You're on the air.
Tony, everybody, how are y'all doing?
There she is. Leslie,
It's
are
Leslie.
you guys back online? Are you guys back going where you're going?
Well, we were very fortunate. Our county got hit hard, but we never lost power. We have some trees down, but they're out on our property, not near our house. So we were very fortunate. But yeah, it's been rough for people in our area for sure.
I bet you Generac's going to move a lot of generators at the end of this.
I know they're going to be getting us as a customer. I know that.
Thank you very little.
Hey, we've got a wood burning fireplace, and then we've got a wood stove in the basement. So we always have heat. We cut our own wood. So, but anyway, yeah, it's been rough. But hey, I wanted to say, Tony, on the Joey football, here's my thing. Who gives us the best shot at going back to the playoffs? And I want to also interject. I think it's you, but I know at least some on the show have said, it's not a program anymore so much as every year is a new team. And if you kind of look at the parallel of basketball, Joey, GMAC, or Faison, who gives us the best chance to get back there and make a run at it? I think we all know the answer.
Amen to that. You bring Joey football back and the expectations go up against that schedule, right?
Right. I mean, I think you have to look at it as, I don't think it's accurate anymore or really relevant to look ahead because there's so many moving parts and you don't know who you're going to have in 27. You only know who you've got hopefully for 26. Yep. And so really, I don't really see that it's even, I can understand why they're like, we're rolling with Joey to come back if he will come back. But I loved Watson's segment on a little more backstory on, what they've told GMAC. I do think, though, GMAC has some huge connections at Vanderbilt, with his grandfather having been a coach there.
Yes.
So, and being from Middle Tennessee, I could see that. I don't know if he fits their style, but I would think that people at Vanderbilt would be reaching out to him. I would be surprised if they hadn't.
Hey, Cinco, how good is Curtis kid?
Well, he's good enough, and they've invested enough that I think, with all due respect, I think they would just reach out for George as a backup. I don't think anyone at Vanderbilt thinks that they don't view George as better than Curtis.
I mean, Leslie, they got the number one quarterback in the country. Vanderbilt did out of high school this year, a local kid down there, who they got, who they pried away from Georgia, by the way.
Right. Hey, and I don't disagree with what Cinco's saying. I mean, it sounds like GMAC is he bleeds orange. I know they have a lot of Tennessee connections too. So.
Sure.
Hey, I have a football question for y'all, though, if I can. Regarding recruiting out of high school, it seems like, now granted, I'm in the mid-state, so I read up on the high school kids and kind of try to keep up a little bit, but it seems like Coach Heupel hasn't made a lot of inroads there. I know it doesn't help that Vanderbilt's relevant again, and, Memphis, they do pretty good, I guess, for where they're at, and, but it just, the kid at, I think his name's Becker at Indiana. I went back and did a little it doesn't look like he was recruited at all by Tennessee.
He wasn't recruited by anybody.
Yeah, well, he had a couple of offers, but I think Florida State and I don't know, there was another, named notable program. But I guess what I'm getting at is it seems like that Tennessee doesn't really consider the kids that come out of private schools. I know GMAC went to Brentwood Academy, but I can't remember where Becker went, but it was, I think, Father Ryan, one of the smaller, football programs.
Yes,
obviously, Brentwood Academy has a long history of being dominant, but now that they can't pay for players like they used to, they used to get all the best kids, like out of inner city Franklin, where I grew up, and they got them and took them out of the public schools. I don't know if the private schools in Knoxville do that, but that was how it was done back in the 80s and 90s. And in Middle Tennessee. But I just wonder, I mean, seeing what that kid did in the national championship, boy, it seems like he could have been relevant with high school's program.
Hey, Leslie, thank you. He could have been unbelievable here, but here's the thing. Hindsight's always 20/20. I heard a couple stories about the kid had connections to people that were on staffs. Kids he played with that had gone into coaching or gone into administration, or who'd reached down, hey, and said, hey, you need to look at this kid. He can play, and take film to these coaches, and mid-level Power 4 teams looked at him and said, "No, he can't play." That's how he ended up in Indiana. That's
take a look, Tony. I mean, she's a good point. She has a good point. But we signed this past class. We got a kid from Baylor, and I know Baylor's a little bit different right now. They're recruiting, but we taken kids from Catholic and Webb here recently, and you're not going to hit everybody. I mean, for prime example is your Heisman Trophy winner grew up as a crow flies less than 2 miles from the Miami campus. Played right there. His dad played football with the head coach of Miami.
That's exactly right.
They wanted no part of him. So it's unfortunate that you'd like to think that you could get every kid that's going to develop, and that every kid that you think is going to develop that doesn't, that you didn't take them. That's just it's not a science. It's an art, unfortunately. But I like seeing Charlie Becker go up there. I like seeing kids prove people wrong. And if his motivation is to shove it in Tennessee or Vanderbilt or whomever is facing, I say you do it, man. Go for it.
Nobody wanted that kid. That he's a great story. He's going to be an NFL first-round pick. He gave Indiana a hometown discount to stay there. Because I poked around on him. I was like, surely that kid's going to get in the portal. And I was told by folks in the industry, no, he's not. He's already agreed to come back. That was before he blew up in that national title game. And the crazy thing about the Miami deal, if you're a Miami fan, you're saying to yourself, we got beat by a guy who's from here, whose father played with our head coach. And the kid that intercepted the ball at the end of the game grew up dreaming of playing for Miami. Dreaming. He's from that community as well. Brief timeout. We come back. We'll do some overtime today. Laura told me not to, but I don't know. I'm loving it. I'm loving it as we continue with more after this.
Are you currently a residential electrician? Would you like more benefits, better pay, more upside? What about a $3,000 signing bonus? Free company paid health insurance, annual profit share, company vehicle, gas card, much more. Call Advent Electric today. Advent, known for their large commercial jobs around town, and due to high demand, they're adding additional roles for their residential department. Maybe you know a friend, family member that's a residential electrician. Spread the word. Email hr@adventelectric.com. hr@adventelectric.com. 865-588-0631 and ask for the Tony B 3K signing bonus. Advent Electric is hiring. You got to dream about buying some land and building on that land. Well, Waterside Contracting is your ticket. 25 years of making dreams come true, Michael Scott. For hundreds in our area, custom homes or remodels, Waterside Contracting will build on your lot. They do incredible work all over the area. Structural integrity, quality without compromise. It's a way of life with Waterside Contract. Check out the wonderful work Waterside does. WatersideContractingLLC.com. When it's time for your dreams to come true. Quality without compromising. Waterside Contracting.
College football fans, Chris Fowler here with the play call. This season, go for Dose with ice-cold, refreshing Dos Equis. It's more than a single play. It's a mindset. Think of it as a 2-point conversion for real life. Taking the risk, making the bold move. Whenever we get the chance to go big, we take it. On the field and off, always go for Dose with Dos Equis.
Enjoy Dos Equis responsibly. Copyright 2024 Dos Equis Lager Especial Beer. Imported by Cervezas Mexicanas, White Plains, New York.
Hi, I'm Jim Simpson, owner of Simpson Meats. When's the last time you grilled a really good burger or steak? One your friends still talk about. Our goal at Simpson Meats is to make that happen every time you have a cookout. All of our cuts of meats, steaks, burgers, briskets, and pork are always fresh, flavorful, and sustainably sourced. We are family owned, so we know the importance of knowing how and where your food is raised. We have been putting quality first since 1888. Visit our butcher shop off Lovell Road or online at simpsonmeats.com.
Tony Basilio along with the great Mark Griffin. And we're here to talk about our friends at Performance Medicine. And Griff, their slogan, stay educated, stay healthy. That's you.
Wow. I really like to think that, Tony, and I'd like to give Dr. Rogers a lot of credit because I definitely want to stay educated and healthy, and knowing that he's putting the time and effort in to make sure of my care, I want to encourage your listeners to put the time to learn.
Really easy way to do that. In fact, they've got their own YouTube channel. You can see Dr. Rogers for himself with his staff. It's called The Performance Medicine Show over at the Performance Medicine channel over on YouTube. Also, more information at performancemedicine.net. To our friends in North Knoxville, a brand new location over in Fountain City, now accepting patients. So many ways